I'll call this meeting of the Town of Woodstock Select Board to order on July 27th at 6 o'clock. Additions and deletions to the agenda. Eric?
I don't have any. The only thing I'll mention is the person who requested the speed sign cannot be here tonight. If we want to move forward with it, they're happy for us to go forward. If we want to delay until a later meeting, they can attend. Up to the board's discretion.
Thank you. I have two. I'm going to make a statement as the chair immediately following this item. And then I also, under votes, want to, or I guess discussion, and possible resolution, the College Hill Perennial Garden. So with that, I know a lot of you were expecting to have a discussion on the documents to be released in connection with the expenditure of money for attorney's fees. At our last meeting, we made changes to a document prepared by our attorney, James Carroll. He was not present and did not have input into those changes. He advised us that it was important to have our attorney himself review the documents before release for appropriate privileges and exemptions. Attorney Carroll received the documents last night. He is in the process of reviewing and will make every effort to complete his work so that they're released before our August 4th morning meeting. The select board engaged its own law firm so that we could exercise an abundance of caution going forward to protect the town. We therefore must follow the advice we receive. Second, I received some comments by people thinking that the municipal manager's review would be discussed tonight. We have a joint contract with the trustees, and thus that discussion will be in a joint meeting, which I will try to schedule with the chair of the trustees for August. Finally, I will not be at the August 4th meeting, so I want to take this time as chair to thank Dick Sweeney and Gay Travers for stepping in and serving as select board members pending the August 11th election. They have not been placeholders, but taken their roles very seriously and provided valuable insight to me and the rest of the board. Please remember to vote in the special election for select board on August 11th. With that, we'll move to citizens' comments. In the room? Yes, Barbara.
I'm still Barbara, and I still live in Woodstock Village.
I'm sorry?
I'm still Barbara, and I still live in Woodstock.
Okay, Barbara Kennedy. Yeah. Go ahead.
I have a question about the security system that's going in. I've been looking for the discussion of the security system. I don't know why we need it. I mean, is there a terrorist threat, or can somebody not find their keys? I mean, perhaps we need what we're going to get. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what we're going to get, and I don't know what the need is, and I can't find the discussion. So if you could just please point me in the discussion so I can figure this out, I'd feel a lot better. Thank you very much.
Mr. Selden? Yeah, timer.
Oh, hello. All right, I think this is working. Wonderful. Yeah, I just want to echo what you had said, Chair Ford. I really want to thank Gay Travers and Dick Sweeney for all of the time that they have put in. Ironically, I feel that they have represented their constituency far more effectively than many of the elected individuals, which is most shocking but also disappointing at the same time. Most recently, we have seen that Mr. Frades has joined your enterprise, Ms. Ford, in trying to conceal information from the public, which was also quite disheartening. But most importantly, I am shocked to see Eric Duffy sitting in the chair inside of Town Hall at a select board meeting right this very moment. I'm absolutely blown away by this because there is an active criminal investigation that the Vermont State Police is conducting into his financial malfeasance, and that is his illegal use of town taxpayer dollars. The board has essentially recognized that he was not authorized to use that money. And here he is in the flesh, sitting here, not on administrative leave, when he put somebody else on administrative leave for wholly ridiculous reasons. But here, a legitimate reason, a very legitimate reason, a criminal investigation, which, by the way, never occurred with Joe Swanson. There was no criminal investigation into him, but he was put on leave for his mismatched socks. And here we have Mr. Duffy sitting here right now, and he continues to work. He continues to have access to the financial books. He continues to have access to the individuals at town hall. He should be put on administrative leave, just like he put Joe Swanson. He should be told not to enter town hall. He should be told not to access his emails or access his files, the exact same things he told Joe Swanson. He should be prevented from talking to any of his coworkers, just like he prevented Joe Swanson. It is absurd to me that you are giving Mr. Duffy disparate treatment for a far more serious transgression. And yet here we are. It baffles me. There are checks and balances, even in local government. That is your job as the board, to be those checks and those balances, and you have utterly failed. You have utterly failed to represent us and to help us in our democratic process here. The only thing, the only silver lining, the only interesting thing that has come out of all of Mr. Duffy's misconduct recently is that he has brought together people that have never been brought together before. He has brought together extreme right-wing individuals with extreme left-wing individuals. He has separated people that have common thread of individuality and a moral compass. It is fascinating, both the people that he's brought together and the people that he's ripped apart. But you're allowing it. You are allowing it as though he is running Woodstock as his own personal fiefdom. And it is absurd. His refusal to accept responsibility clearly proves his incompetence, and not only that, but his misconduct. You need to hold him accountable. You need to put him on administrative leave. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Thank you.
And we have a select board member that also wanted to make a citizen's comment. Sorry, I forgot.
Nope. Okay. Oh, is there another citizen comment? Here we go.
No, it's
Never
you.
mind.
Oh, I bet you more, but we were in the room.
Sorry, can I drop it? Is he making this as a select member or as a
He's
citizen?
making this as a citizen.
Citizen.
I don't know if it's best if he,
Okay.
Oh,
yeah, so just so you're not,
No.
as a select board member.
Hello, Dick Sweeney, interim select board member, speaking as a citizen and voter, not as the interim select board member. It's been very interesting to serve on the select board, and I've appreciated it. One of the things I've observed is that statements have been made implying that Mr. Duffy stole taxpayer money in settling invoices and legal fees. The term stealing could lead anyone to conclude that taxpayer funds related to this or these invoices found a way into Mr. Duffy's personal accounts. Clearly, this is not the case. Investigations may conclude that taxpayer funds may have been unauthorized disbursements or a misappropriation. Here, the difference in my understanding is intent. We expect that determination is now being directed to the Vermont State Police. Using taxpayer funds to satisfy a town or a village obligation is not stealing. Let us all, myself included, choose our words carefully. Thank you.
Thank you. Other citizens comment? Yes. Sorry, I can't see that far.
Jennifer Feldy, Woodstock. I wrote this because, believe it or not, I'm a terrible public speaker. I know it's hard to believe since I never shut up otherwise. So here we are still. Problems should have a beginning, a middle, and an end, but not in Woodstock. Since early 2019, we've been watching the slow dissolution of the small town values that made this town ideal. Bill Swanson died after a 34-year career as Woodstock Town and Village Manager. Since then, members past and present of the board have dishonored his name by telling wealthy donors that they are desperately trying to make up for 34 years of financial malfeasance. Nothing could be further from the truth. As a matter of fact, what we are seeing today is not just financial malfeasance, it's criminal. We have witnessed the illegal transfer of money from the town to the village, which we would never have known about if Allison Taylor hadn't gone to extraordinary lengths to exercise the due diligence that should have been done by the members of the board. The financial malfeasance doesn't stop there. The select board is tasked with monitoring the EDC, and yet one initiative after the other has been a waste of desperately needed funds. One example is the $200,000 given to a trustee's son for unnecessary marketing at a time when tourism was at such a COVID high that we had to shut down streets for fear of collisions. Now the narrative revolves around the illegal firing of Joe Swanson. I heard over and over that there was more to it, that board members couldn't discuss it due to ongoing litigation. I deliberately attended the last hearing, to learn what was the big secret was. Eric's lawyer had nothing more than the mismatched socks argument once again. It was painful to watch. And now you marginalize and insult Nico for having the guts to stand up for his husband. You call him a bully. And yet anyone who either opposes you or asks hard questions is bullied by Jill Davies' minions. Who's Jill Davies? That's easily answered. Just go to her website, aboutme/Jill Davies. Jill is what they call a master avatar. Avatar is a funny word and often distracting, but an avatar master in this context is a cult leader attached to a multi-level marketing program like Amway. She sells access to avatar courses offered by a pseudo-Scientology group called Stars Edge International out of Orlando, Florida. So what? Who cares what someone does in their spare time, right?
30 seconds.
Well, I'm going to finish. Well, that brings us back to financial malfeasance. Currently, you have greenlighted a $5 million fundraising campaign set on beautifying the village. Your agreement with the Conservancy has only one line regarding the money that will be raised on the back of our good name, the town's good name, a name and reputation that was forged by Phil Swanson under the careful eye of Lawrence Rockefeller.
Time's up.
That one line in
Time's
your
up.
Time.
agreement.
Thank you very much.
Would somebody finish?
I'll finish for you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Where'd you leave off?
Here,
Thank you.
and then this page.
Sure. I'm Bruce McClellan.
Thank you.
So
You
what?
might not get all the way through, so if someone else would finish it.
Who cares what someone does in their spare time, right? Well, that brings us back to financial malfeasance, sir. Currently, you have green-lighted $5 million fundraising campaign to beautifying our village. Your agreement with the Conservancy has only one top line regarding the money that will be used on the back of our good name. The town's good name, a name and reputation that was forged by Phil Swanson under the careful eye of Lawrence Rockefeller. That one line in your agreement says simply that the money will be held by the Woodstock Community Trust until dispersed. It contains no details regarding where the money will be held, who will have check writing rights, what the timeline is for the disbursement, and most importantly, what is it to become of the dividends of the $5 million account. And the Conservancy, just one of the many bogus avatar programs. The name Woodstock Community Trust was usurped from a defunct Rockefeller initiative and resurrected as Jill Davies' privately run 501c3. It has no affiliation to Woodstock at all. They currently hold over $1 million, money that should be dispersed to the needy if they are to make good on their promises. So what are those promises? There is zero transparency, but maybe we can take a page out of Avatar's endeavors in other towns. The BBC in March 2018 exposed an initiative in the Amsterdam wherein they mapped a financial pipeline showing how public tax dollars and private tuition were being funneled out of Dutch communities directly back to Stars Edge headquarters in Florida. So what does that have to do with us? One technique is to fire employees and replace them with their own people. That way they can sell more avatar courses under the guise of employee enrichment. They also converted formerly volunteer positions to, quote, professional employment. Starting to sound familiar. What really got their citizens goat was that there was the infiltration of the schools where the avatar agenda was being taught to the students under the guise of resilience and meditation. This is all detailed in the Avatar textbook Star Edge's founder, Harry Palmer, wrote called The Compassion Project. It is a manual which describes the Avatar Master's mandate, quote from the BBC. The infiltration mechanism, the manual instructs masters to package this exercise specifically for institutions that would normally ban spiritual or commercial groups. Provides a blueprint to pitch the exercise to public school principals,
10 seconds.
corporate headquarters, and municipal leaders under the guise of secular emotional intelligence and stress reduction. Once an institution
Time's up.
accepts the free compassion material, the master has
Thank you, sir. That's your
successfully-
time.
Time's up.
Next reader, please.
Anyone else want to finish?
There's a
Okay,
hand up
well-
online.
I just add, you're a liar. We're gonna
Okay,
get-
next comment is Bob on Zoom.
Please add this to the record.
Thank you.
Do we have Bob?
He's
Eric, I
unmuted.
suggest you read that.
Okay, thank you.
It's for your benefit,
He's muted.
I promise.
Bob, did you want to have a comment? Anyone, well, anyone else in the room? Roger?
Let me echo the thanks for the people who have stepped up to the board to fill in. And also let me recognize that our town staff has also continued to do the good work that they've been doing. Ironically enough, I'm speaking to you to ask that you consider that perhaps me speaking to you in this manner on off agenda items is not an effective way of getting the work of this group, of this board done. It's not a requirement in Vermont law that there be public comment that is not related to items that are being discussed in the meeting and that are part of the agenda. And there are other towns in Vermont that do not have this kind of open, say whatever you want to say that's not related to an agenda item. Failing that, or as an alternative, I would suggest that you do move general citizens' comments to the end of the meeting so it doesn't serve as a distraction for getting the actual work that we as citizens need to get done in this meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Roger.
Bill online.
Bill online? Bill Boardman? I show he's muted.
I've
You
asked
hear
him
me?
Yes,
Is that a
we can
yes?
hear you.
I want to strongly support Nico Selden's comment about leave of absence. Orderly conduct is perfectly exhibited by putting someone under criminal investigation on a leave of absence. That was the pretext that was used on Chief Swanson, including a public press release put out by Eric Duffy implicating Swanson in a complaint that did not exist. Here we have a real complaint of real malfeasance. It's not a question of whether something happened. It's a question of how and why it happened. And the board member Sweeney seems to be confusing town and village realities. The town and village are separate municipal entities, and for the town to give money to the village is as illegal as it is to give money to West Lebanon. So I think the board needs to step up and deal with reality face on with not a lot of mealy-mouthed explanations. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room? We have Bob?
I would like to speak. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh,
Can
thank
you
you.
state your name and your last name, please? Because you only come up
course,
with Bob on the Zoom.
Yeah, I understand. My name is Bob Selden. I want to correct something that was said a few moments ago about this not being theft because the money didn't go into Mr. Duffy's personal pocket. And I would like to state that the evidence that I understand is correct is that the money was taken from one pocket of the town and put into another pocket of the village so Mr. Duffy could enhance his reputation, misrepresent his accomplishment of keeping the town, the village solvent, and justify an enormous raise and work benefits that nobody else has ever had in the town or the village for that matter. And so it is theft. He benefited personally from it. And just because the money didn't go into his pocket directly, it went into his pocket at the end of the day. That's all I have to point out, and I appreciate your time and letting me speak. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Seeing no other comments, I'm going to close citizens' comments and move on to the manager's report.
Thank you. I'll just state, my report that the select board asked me to present is in the hands. I'm happy that it's there. I hope it becomes public. I hope people get a chance to read it, is all I'll say. I'd also echo what Susan Ford said and Roger to thank Gay and Dick for being on the board the last few
They do have
months.
one more meeting.
There won't be, I know, yeah, but I'm sure I'll forget, so.
No, we're starting to get the hint here.
Actually, a bag's packed by the door. If you want. No, I think, you know, with both of them, we not have always agreed with everything, but I think both of them have brought their unique insights into this group, have asked questions other people haven't, have advocated for things other people haven't. So it's always good to have different diversities. I just want to thank you both for your time here. I know August 11th is too late, but I hope that you both consider running in the future if you want to, and continue to be an asset to Woodstock. So thank you both.
Not at my age.
A few things to go over. One, I want to thank Savannah, Stephanie, and Trinity. They've created a monthly newsletter for our staff to kind of keep informed what's going on with staff profiles, and just a way to kind of keep morale up and kind of advocate or kind of communicate better between departments on what's going on. So they did the first one last week. It's going to be a monthly theme, so just something different we're trying. So just want to thank them for their work there. First one was a hit, so we'll go from there. Second, I want to thank Molly Maxim. She worked hard, and on June 26th, the town was awarded a $30,454 grant through the Mount Ascutney Regional Commission Enhancement Development Design and Implement Block Grant, the EDDIBG. And this is a grant to help design a rain garden in the parking lot by the Bondell Reservoir. That will help mitigate the infiltration of anthropologic pollutants and manage storm water runoff. The grant will cover the whole 100% of the design costs, and then the town would be able to apply for a grant to actually have the work done next year. That again, we covered 100% as well. So I'm very happy with Molly for going through that, and that'll be very beneficial to us all. Next, I want to announce two new hires in our dispatch department, Rebecca Stearns and Nina Woolin. Nina started today. Rebecca starts next week. Combined, they're bringing 42 years of dispatch experience into that department. So I want to welcome them and thanks Chris Pete for kind of shepherding that process through. What else? To a comment earlier, the new door locks and camera system will begin installation in August of this year. To be clear to everyone, there is no change to access to town hall. With this new system, what it allows us to do is, in case of emergency, we can lock town hall down. It also allows us to not have to give keys out to varied organizations. A great example is Two Rivers held a presentation here last Thursday. I believe the chamber's doing one this coming Thursday. We always have to give them a key to get in, get the key back afterwards. This will allow us to either give them a key combination and change the key combination, or for someone like myself to be able to unlock them off the door from home as well. So for residents, 7:30 in the morning until 4:30, Monday through Friday, the doors are going to be unlocked, but they currently are. There'll be no substantial change to anyone's access to town hall at any point. It's just to the ease of that and in case worst case scenario as well. So I just want to clarify that. Next, the planning commission voted on the new bylaws for the village. That is going to go in front of the village trustees soon. So two things. One, I want to thank the planning commission and our planning department to work on this. This was about, I think, a 1.5 year process. Numerous public meetings. It's now in the trustees. It also means the planning commission is going to shift from the bylaws to work on the town plan. So there'll be more input from the select board going forward on what we want the town plan to look like with that as well. Two last things. One, as I mentioned a few months ago, I was up at the state with Craig Jewett and also Stephanie advocating for some variances for the new well project. I'm happy to report the state is allowing us a variance so we can have a new well where the current well is without any issues. So I want to thank Craig and Stephanie and also the state for working with us on that. It's going to save us bunch of money, but also a bunch of time, so we will move forward quickly as we want, rather than having to find a new site. Finally, we are going to go live with bids for the Elm Street pipe replacement this week. We have a schedule in place, and the current timeline is to have that pipe underneath the bridge before Thanksgiving of this fall. So that's the time I'm working on. The bid will go live end of this week, and then we'll go through the process from there. So I'm excited to keep that moving us forward.
And then the financial report.
Yeah, so this is kind of, even though we're in July, this is the financial report for end of FY 26. Rob and I have not had a chance to kind of go through and, do a final check and everything. But a few things I want to highlight. Oh, sorry, go to town one. Just a quick review of the water department. Looks like it ended in a pre-audit. Where is it? Sorry, big one. Pre-audit surplus is about $15,000. We'll see if there's any transfers, after the fact, but that's decent. The sewer as well is currently at a small surplus of $50,000. Again, there may be some journal entries, some transfers, depending on as we go through and see if anything needs to be reallocated. We'll keep the select board updated on that. Things to note for the town budget. One, ambulance services, line 14081. You'll see we came in over budget. That's probably due to the third-party billing service we started using this year. So that's kind of a positive. We'll pull more reports to see how they improve based on our internal work. And the other thing I want to point out is down 1,407.01. There's a line item transfer from capital reserves of $402,000. What that is if you look on end of the report, where are we? Under 15099, you'll see all the kind of capital reserve spending we did. This is a transfer in to kind of offset that transfer. It's actually not one for one, so I'll look into why that's not equal, but that's kind of why you'll see that new revenue in there is $4,000 is to offset that expense. And the other thing to point out is the town, if you look at the actual, even though it's a healthy surplus, the expenses are about $1 million over what's budgeted for. That's due to a few things. One is the petition articles, the $221,000 not budgeted for, but it comes out of the general fund. So that's where you see that number there. Grants, we had about $240,000 of grants that came through. Capital reserves, the $4,000 I just mentioned. Then EEI, we missed a payment the previous year, so we had to pay them twice this year. So that all includes about $1 million. That's where the overage is from the overall expenses.
Does the board have any questions on the financial report?
I do on the manager's report.
On the manager, sorry.
In terms of, is there a police report, or is that going to happen when we're discussing the contract?
There's not a police report. You're talking like a monthly police report?
No, the incident report. Is that what you're meaning? Yeah.
I don't have one prepared. I'm sorry, I didn't know I was being asked to present it. I think we gave the board the ability to see the year long. I know Susan has done a lot of work on what that looks like. But I can have one ready for next meeting if you want.
Well, I actually have that, but what I can't understand is why that can't be categorized. I don't, it just seems so simple to me that monthly we would just get a categorized report of what the incidents are. So I don't understand, sort of, there seems to be an issue about it, but I guess that's what I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't think the board has ever officially asked for a monthly update. We can work on that if the board wants to. I try to present kind of an overall monthly review. I know you want more details. We can try to provide something in more depth. I know, as I think you guys saw, the report we have is pretty large and not categorized great. I think that's probably due to our software system. But I can work with the interim chief to see if there's a better way to spit that out.
Any other questions from the board on the?
As I've asked with any financial update, have there been any material events since the last presentation?
There is one for this fiscal year, which is the grader engine broke. So we were out without a grader. That's a $75,000 purchase. It's an emergency. So we have purchased that. And that'll be on the next warrant for you, but it will come out capital reserves as well. Thank you.
Questions from the public on the manager's report or financials? Byron?
Good evening, Byron Kelly, Woodstock. I was hoping not to have to speak this early, but I'd like to comment on Gay's question. It has been asked on the types of incidents, and I want everyone to know, I support the men and women of the Woodstock Police Department. This is an issue that's been talked about for a while. I know Gay mentioned, I think it's actually in your minutes for June 6th, where she specifically asked about the breakdown. I think the manager said you'd get it promptly. But it's been asked by Sally Garman in the back and other people, as well as myself over the last year or so. I would tell you that most police agencies in the state use a system called Valcor. It isn't as difficult as you think. I would refer you all to look at Burlington Police Department's data. They believe in transparency. They give actually an up to the moment report. You can see what happened in the last week up there on the breakdown of type of incidents. Please go to it. It's the exact same system that Woodstock uses. You could call up and ask. I suspect what you got was an Excel report that included a lot of personal identifiers, which is good, but it also prevents you from releasing it.
Right.
Reports are easy to get. Please look at Burlington PD's public information data. Same exact system. Call Burlington up. Ask them how they set up their reports. You go into tab, you go into reports, you say just the fields you want out. You can break it down into burglaries. When you look at Burlington's, you'll see it's easy. There should be no confusion on how easy that is. If you just go to that one website, please, it's not a hard question to answer. And people have asked, it's not against the men and women of Woodstock Police Department. They're fine. Thank you.
And
Thank
just
you.
to be clear, we did get 13 months of reports, but you're correct. It has people's addresses on it, so we can't release that.
Illusion creates confusion.
I have a summary that doesn't have addresses, but yeah, okay. Any other, Roger?
I have a very quick, very nerdy question. I noticed in revenue that there's a very minor discrepancy in the Rockefeller endowment. And I have to admit, I don't know exactly how that works. Is that a set fund that we're paid every year, or is it a payout from a capital fund of some sort?
It goes to, I believe, with the trustees of public funds, and they come usually in front of the board, I think once a year, and kind of, it's a percentage. I think originally there was a percentage of how much had to be used each year for the first like 20 years of the fund, and we're past that point. I don't have it in front of me, but there was a presentation maybe a year ago where they came in front of the joint board actually and discussed how the process works. I can get more information. I don't want to speak.
No, I just was wondering, I wasn't clear whether this was an endowment that we then spend the income on, or whatever the trustees.
Yeah, it's supposed to offset the taxes that we normally receive.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Any other comments, questions? I realized I forgot to write one thing down, which meant I forgot to mention it. And I just want to note the passing of Lainey Edson of South Woodstock. And Lainey was our health officer for over 40 years, running around doing water tests. She went to a derelict building with me one time and was a great, I think it didn't pay for what she did. So I'm going to call her a volunteer, even though she received some money. And I just want to note that and pass on our condolences to her family. With that, we'll move on to votes. The stipulation regarding the appeal to the Board of Civil Authority. So we did one of these at the last meeting for Comcast, and then I was presented with one for VTEL, but we didn't approve me to sign one for VTEL, so I didn't sign it. So it's the same issue where the state changed the law. It seems silly for them to have to go through our entire grievance procedure when all they want to do is get to court and contest the new statute. So my suggestion would be that we authorize the chair or the vice chair to sign any of the utilities that are coming forward with these. I think VTEL might be the last one, but just in case there's another one, we don't have to keep coming back with the same issue. So.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Update on MSK change order for water lines along Route 4. I saw Craig on Zoom.
Good
And
evening,
we
everyone.
received a letter. But go ahead.
I wanted to just provide the opportunity for questions related to the response on the change order discussion. After some internal discussion related to the board's request, it was determined that we do not feel this is an error and omission related to the approach, and thus we cannot actually share in any cost savings or cost sharing related to this. It's a recommended service for you to decide whether you want it to be included or not. And I did want to be clear that we have proceeded forward with stitching together the existing data related to the project, and we can complete the project as contracted without this work. It is just our recommendation that this work would help the accuracy and the level of accuracy of the information, and thus help mitigate potential risks during construction.
Craig, did I miss it? This is Dick Sweeney. Did I misunderstand when you presented this at the last meeting that you said it had been an error of omission?
No, what I had stated is that we took an approach to get under contract as quickly as possible to meet the project schedule and getting this project ready for construction for next construction season, which I know next season sounds like it's a long ways away, but that's a much shorter time frame than these projects normally come together. And what we had decided at that point in time was if a determination was made that the level of accuracy of the documentation available was of a concern or was of a level where we were concerned about accuracy and we were not able to meet that in the field, that we would recommend that this locating service be done. So whether it was at the beginning of the contract as part of our original scope or as a recommended service after the initiation of our contract, we feel that the recommendation would have been made either prior to or subsequent to, thus the related cost is the related cost to the project.
Okay. I don't doubt the related cost, but I still feel that it should be a shared expense, and since it wasn't upfront and it's a significant invoice coming after the fact.
I appreciate that, and like I said, it's a recommended service, and we can proceed forward without this service and complete the project. So if the decision is to not move forward with the services, that's completely understandable under the circumstances, and we have no problem proceeding under those circumstances. But I was directed that we could not participate in any cost sharing related to this subcontractor service.
Okay.
Well, from the get-go, I've had a problem with this. Everybody knows it because this is the no bid situation that we just sort of went ahead with no cost. And frankly, I mean, you did say last time that it was an omission on your part, and now that sort of has changed. So it really undermines any confidence, frankly, that I have going forward. How many more surprise costs are going to go up because we never had a really, contract, and a bidding process about what this was actually going to cost. So how can we, you sort of convince us that this isn't going to keep coming up, again and again with these sort of, I mean, it was obvious these pipes need to be located. So I have to say that, don't have a lot of confidence here.
I understand your concern. I guess I would add that the no bid decision related to this is what I would classify as inaccurate. The selection was based on qualifications related to experience, both with your system and with similar type projects. Qualification-based selection is very common, and in fact, in a lot of cases, required over doing a selection solely on lowest bid provided. Related to your question about confidence, I will work to restore that confidence. I've been involved with this water system for a long time. I used to be a resident of Woodstock. I now live next door to Woodstock. So this is my backyard related to wanting to improve the water system and make the water system more advantageous for everybody who uses it and everybody who may want to use it in the future.
Greg, I have a question. The service that you're recommending, is it a one-time deal like DigSafe, or does it have a future use for our system down the road if we need to locate things in 10 years or 15 years?
So the service does include locating other infrastructure within the project area in addition to the water system itself. So there is other related infrastructure, specifically wastewater infrastructure within the roadway that would also be located as part of this. Future-wise, not as much, more so related to making sure we're giving contractors accurate information for where they are digging, specifically in Route 4. Any sort of delay related to that is going to cost significantly more money than what we're discussing here. And that's why the recommendation was made as a means of mitigating potential risk. I cannot put a dollar value on what that potential risk might be, and I can't document that will pay dividends on itself. But based on my experience, the more accurate the information related to the existing infrastructure, the less chance of things going wrong during construction when stakes are higher and costs are more significant than they are during design.
Okay. Will you be the managing engineer on this project?
I am the managing engineer throughout this project. I'm also the managing engineer on the Elm Street project and the Source project as well. So if there are any questions related to any water system related projects, please don't hesitate to reach out. And I am always available to answer any questions that anyone has.
Any other questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Yes, Peter?
Peter Shoemaker, Woodstock. Thank you for the time. So Mr. Jewett has rightly pointed out, he's got a long history because he wrote the Otter Creek engineering report that the Woodstock Aqueduct, and that provided you with all the estimates of future costs down the line for upgrading our systems. So I guess he did have a head start in, for this bid, for this contract, because he's been working on it all the time. For me, I think he should have known that these were probably some really hard pipes to locate, and would probably need some special, just from his past history with the department. It wasn't like he started this fresh. He was way ahead of it, more than anyone in this room, and probably anyone on the internet, or even with who's running the water department now. So that being said, this is going to be a big project, right? This is a small cost. I'd like to think, how is this going to be part of the bond money, or would this be a cost that you're going to put right to the water department and be paid by the users of the water department?
The assumption is this would be part of the project, so it would be part of the bond that would cover it.
Okay, so we're starting to run a little bit behind already, just in design for costs. So
if I could say, we've received, I believe, over $1 million in grants for this project that were not included with the bond project. So we're actually have extra funds available as we speak right now before we dig into the ground or anything.
But if we still, okay, fair enough. So there is some funds that will help pay for this. Okay.
You okay?
You all right?
Peter?
Peter.
Somebody-
Oh my God. Call me. 911. Okay. Calm down. Calm down.
You call 911? You got it?
No, no, yeah, just let me.
We'll recess this meeting.
It's okay.
Okay, your airways. We should be back.
Okay. Thank you.
See you back in recess. Sorry.
Back, we're returning from recess. Thank you again for your patience. Peter, did you want to conclude any
Yeah.
remarks?
Apologize for the.
No,
So,
it's necessary.
I guess I just, as we start down this path of cost overruns and such, I just want to make sure that we're keeping track of, how these original estimates were made and that we're going to keep the budget. What happens once we get beyond that grant money? And that gives you a little pocket. But, it would be nice if we didn't just think of that extra money as something that we couldn't use. I don't want to have that theory that the bigger the pot of the money means we get to spend it all. We should try to use that money to pay down what the taxpayers and maybe the two option funds pay for. And that way we could go on and just keep it as almost every water department in the world is user based. And again, sorry about the delay.
Thank you, Peter.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I do think we lost Craig, but before the select board, just to Peter's point, if in the worst case scenario, we go over what the town bonded for, we would have to go back and ask for a new bond or find the money somewhere else. So ideally we'll reach that point, but legally that's what we'd have to do. So people are clear on that.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the public? Hearing none, is there a vote on the MSK change order for the water lines along Route 4?
I'd make a motion to accept the change order.
And I'll second.
Okay. Motion made and seconded.
Can we discuss it for a sec?
Sure. Yeah.
I really believe that we need to do this, but I also am not impressed with how this has happened, and I really am, concerned that it will continue. So I don't know what you guys are going to do, but I'm going to vote no, but I do really think it needs to be done. So you guys take it from there.
Okay. A motion's been made and seconded to accept the change order. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Moving on, we have a liquor license for 4 Mechanic Street, first and third class and an outdoor consumption permit. May I have a motion to approve the liquor license application based upon the assumption that the state has reviewed it since we no longer get those materials?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
You, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And now our perennial favorite, utility abatement. Eric, I'm gonna let you.
Yeah, so there's 3 of them. My finance office tried to put together a quick memo for you because they can't be here tonight. This first one for 4205 Heartland Hill. I'm not sure if Dan Morgan is here or not. I don't think
He's
I
not.
see him online.
Yeah.
But basically it looks like is they sent a check in on time. For whatever reason, the check was never deposited. So they canceled their check. And then they got a $34 fee for canceling the check. So what they're asking for is a $34 abatement to kind of cover the cost of their canceled check.
And he had a receipt to show that he paid it.
Yes.
Correct.
Is there a motion on?
I'll make the motion that we,
Second motion.
we abate.
Is that a single residence just to?
Yes.
Motion's been made and seconded to abate. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? No. Okay. Yeah. So the next one is. Sorry.
4 River Street, Mary Quinn.
Yeah, thank you. And this one looks like it was a data entry error.
Yep.
So again, under our guidelines, it's a manifest error of the town. And they're looking that we just add the current reading and adjust her number accordingly.
Yeah, from I think 4,306 cubic feet to 100 cubic feet for the quarter.
Is there a motion
I
on?
have a question about
Sure.
that. I just, for consistency, the one before has the base rate of a single and then you go from there. And then this one doesn't have the base rate. It just has a charge. So can you just sort of explain? I mean, it just doesn't seem consistent to me on how these things are charged. And then the next one has the basic rate plus the sewage too. So that's like, it's,
Would the Morgan property not have a meter? Is that why it has a base rate rather than?
That could be the case, yeah. I
And the
don't,
others have meters.
that's the answer. Thank you.
see enough of these, you figure out what's going on in the
Yeah.
system.
Thank you.
Okay,
So we're gonna make a motion.
yes. Is there a motion on 4 River Street?
It's a motion. I'm so moved.
Move to abate
Move the debate.
and a
Second.
second. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And next is,
Same issue.
23 Gulf Avenue. There was an error in the aqueduct records that led to an extraordinarily high bill. Bookkeeper error, so it's the town's recommendation that we make the adjustment under the criteria of error on the part of the town since we acquired the aqueduct. Is there a motion on, or any questions on 22 Gulf? No,
No.
I'm looking at you.
Oh, sorry.
That's
No,
okay.
sorry.
Great. Is there a motion on 22 Gulf?
Motion to make the correction.
And a second?
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Great. Next is closure of Cloudland Road. You're up. You can,
Come on up, Mike.
Good evening, Michael Dopin, Cloudland Road in Pomfret, next door.
Yeah.
So I can go into as much detail or as little detail as you want. I'm not sure how familiar all of you are. I know Susan is very familiar with the closure. Basically, this started several years ago, but as of about 3 years ago, we started closing the road during fall foliage, primarily on the holiday weekend, the Indigenous Peoples' Day holiday weekend is when it's at its worst. But we have literally hundreds of cars coming up, jamming up the road, parking, all kinds of bad behavior, trash, people just picnicking on the lawns. Primarily it revolves around one property, which is the known as the Sleepy Hollow property on Cloudland Road. That is in Pomfret. However, Cloudland Road begins in Woodstock. That's why we're here to talk to you guys about closing. We have already talked to the Pomfret Select Board. They're basically in favor of it, but they kind of, as in past years, they want us to come to you first and make sure that you guys are good with it and do the closure.
dates are September 26th through October 13th.
Yes.
Right? And it's every
That's
day.
a Saturday through a Tuesday. So it's the Saturday 2 weeks prior and then the weekend in between, then the holiday weekend up through to Tuesday.
And Eric, in the past, have we done something with signs or?
Yeah, so typically what we've done is we rent a big sign for kind of the island there by buildings with the assumption of buses coming through would see it there and do a U-turn around the island and go through buildings instead of going all the way down the Cloudland and seeing the closure there. So typically the town has paid, I think it's a couple $1,000s to have that there to kind of avoid any traffic issues there.
We have had several of our residents in Pomfret say they're totally fine with that sign not being there. So that's totally up to you guys as far as whether you want to do that or not.
Do we put the big road closure sign at the bottom? Because there's one right at the bottom of the cloud.
Yes.
That
signage is Woodstock, right at the bottom, right at the cemetery.
So you'd be good
That
with
signage
just
is
that.
Woodstock.
You're good with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And so really the only differences this year would be if you did not do the big lit sign at Billings Farm. We're totally good with eliminating that. And then we are going to, the residents have paid for the patrolling and the staffing of the sheriff's department at the base of Cloudland Road. And we are going to eliminate that this year totally. And we're going to have the one security outfit that we've had use on Barber Hill. We're going to have them patrol just on the holiday weekend, just on Cloudland surrounding the Sleepy Hollow property.
So will they be also going on the Woodstock property, on Woodstock side of Cloudland, or just the Pomfret?
The patrol would be just on the just on the Pomfret piece, just on Sleepy Hollow. And that again would be paid for by us, the residents. And that would be no cost to Woodstock. And the patrolling, the stationing of the sheriff's department has never been a cost to Woodstock. It's always been the signage, and that's pretty much it.
Favor not paying $2,000 for a sign.
Yeah.
If Mike's okay with it.
Any other questions from the board? Questions or comments from the public? Byron?
I really hate speaking. Should be Chris up here telling you. It has been for the last 3 years, and I'm not against it by any means. I would just recommend in your motion that the power that gives you the authority to close it is Title 23 VSA Section 1010 that allows you to close it.
Okay.
And just one note for future reference, we are cutting back significantly on the patrolling. This is as I like to say, life is one big experiment. We're going to experiment with this and see how it goes this year. I would love to say that it'll be successful and we won't have to come back next year. I have no clue. So there were people up there today, and which is fine. Onesie twosie cars coming up, stopping, taking pictures, doing whatever. That's really not a problem. It's the major traffic jam that happens in the fall foliage that's the issue.
Was there a feeling it had decreased last year? I know the hope is that you kind of get off the radar of the influencers.
It's really hard to tell because it wasn't open and it was being patrolled. So it's kind of hard to tell year to year. I'm not down at the base of the road watching the cars. I have witnessed when down talking to the sheriff or the sheriff's department, watching cars slow down and then kind of look and then drive on by. So, obviously wanting to turn, but then not. I can't say, I don't really have a feel for whether that's, pertinent information or not, and how that will play out.
Any other comments? Seeing none, is there a motion to close the road under 23 VSA Section 1010?
So
Very
moved.
good. Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Perfect.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Okay.
We'll cross fingers that it works.
Yeah.
We sure will.
The next up is how to get an item on the select board meeting agenda, which is a document prepared by the Vermont League of Cities and Towns, otherwise known as VLCT. And discussion.
I think we talked at our last meeting that we would try it.
Yeah.
Yes. See, give it a
90 days or
90
something.
days and see if it works. And if it's cumbersome, we need to change it.
Okay.
As you all know, I think it's incredibly cumbersome. And the thing I really noted was that if a board member wants to have an item on, they have to go through the most hoops, even more than the public. So I found that sort of, ironic. Also, we had discussed before that maybe to do sort of in conjunction with this, an informal process too, that can be brought up with citizens' comments or whatever too. So I would just like to really sort of make sure that this is not the only way that you can get on the agenda.
I don't think that's anticipated. I think if somebody, at least I feel, if somebody brings something up at citizens' comments or that we're not going to say, oh, no, you have to fill out a form.
Good.
And the same with select board members, as you know. I try.
Yeah, I know.
I'd recommend the Gay's point that maybe number 3 can be adapted. So board members don't have to go through this whole process.
Yep.
It can just be,
And we have our own procedure, so.
yeah, it could just be a board member reaching out to vice chair saying, I wanted to talk about X, Y, and so probably get rid of that, you know.
Get rid of 3 altogether.
And of course, as you all, if you know too, that I also think on the agenda, there should be other discussion at the end. So
yeah,
I have to say that again.
So is there a motion? Oh, I'm sorry, discussion, Roger.
Are you voting on this tonight? Was
Yeah.
that your?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's probably too late to do this then, but I think there's some language in here that is going to trip you up. The title, for example, how to get an item on the select board meeting agenda. That should be how to request to put an item on the select board meeting agenda.
That's true.
This document explains the standard process for putting an item on the select meeting agenda. That again should be requesting to put it.
Yep.
And if the deadline is missed, the item will usually be scheduled for the next regular meeting. That implies that the item is automatically kind of accepted to be on the agenda. And I think it needs to be very clear that this is a select board's agenda and it's the work that you need to do. And you obviously have to be responsive to citizen requests. But I think it should be very clear that this is the select board's agenda. I also would suggest, I mean, I'm going to disagree that this should not be procedural. I think once you have a procedural approach and a casual approach, there is a significant possibility that some people are going to feel that their items are not being paid as much attention to as somebody else's items. If you're going to have a procedure, have the procedure and things follow the procedure, and that's what you tell people. It's like, great, fill out this form. I also think you should build in some answering mechanism, because I do think that I didn't see it in here. I might have missed it, but I do think that people should have a response. And, you know, even if it's just, this doesn't, we do not feel that this is an appropriate item for the agenda at this time, or whatever boilerplate you want to come up with that. But I think that would be advisable just to make sure that everything is.
Yeah, the intent, and I'm the one who had proposed this looking over to VLCT, and I knew nothing about this process ahead of time. So that's the level of expertise you're dealing with.
Oh, no, I mean, VLCT put this out.
Yeah,
I mean,
right. So
presumably know what they're
there's 2
doing.
things. One of the things I believe we agreed on is that we'll vote to do this on a 90-day trial period, and it'll run concurrent with the informal approach now. And as hopefully, as everybody meshes and gets used to it, it becomes standard procedure as you're suggesting, which I totally agree with.
Okay.
And I believe there's a mechanism in here where we have a responsibility to respond to all requests as to why something's not on the agenda, or this is the same as 3 other requests, so it's being consolidated, whatever it happens to be.
Yeah, I think that would be very advisable to do
Okay.
that. And again, it doesn't have to be a long explanation. It could just be boilerplate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says if a request can't be scheduled right away, then the requester should receive a brief explanation and if possible, a timeline.
Yeah.
Again, a request can't be right away. I mean, there's this language is very fuzzy on the sense of whether or not things can be just not put on the agenda. I think they're being overly polite in their language. But, you know,
I've been accused of that.
Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
So do we want to
Let's just vote on it.
make?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's a silly document that we can change any moment.
one thing, I think if you
That
want to vote,
moment may be here.
if you want to vote on it, you probably just want to quickly go through and say what
What the changes were.
or and also just let you know they have space like deadline, like number 2, that so you can vote on it, or maybe we could vote on it and give the chair, vice chair, town manager the ability to like fill this out, you know.
I like that one.
I like that idea.
Okay.
Make a motion that we accept this form as a, how to get or request an item for the select board meeting agenda.
For a period of.
For a period of 90 days.
Yes.
With the obsession, the chair,
With
vice
the
chair will.
Chair, vice chair, and town manager could make.
Yes,
We need a second.
yeah.
Second.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Speed signs on Route 106.
Yeah, so this was brought up by a resident. They met with myself, interim chief Chris O'Keefe, looking for a new speed sign, Final 106, just past the athletic club. They can't be here tonight. They're happy to come to a later meeting if that's the pleasure of the board to kind of discuss where this request is coming from. But with that said, there's two quotes for you to at least entertain tonight or discuss. One is for $3,443.45. The other is for $3,958.34. The difference is the higher expensive one is able to track data. To some degree, I gave the board what the data will look like as well. So if you want to discuss it now, if you want to wait for another meeting and have the residents attend, it's up to the board.
I think we should just.
I remember that Jim Otranto offered to fix a sign if it wasn't working. And I was wondering if that had been looked into.
That's an ongoing process, yes. So we've reached out to
This would be
him.
a new
This would be a new
fixed
sign too.
So it wouldn't be one of the ones that we move around.
Yes,
No, it'd be the one like the one by the country club,
Oh, these are
Right.
different.
just like
Yeah,
that.
this is a new sign. There was a fatality in this area. So I think that's.
Yeah, sorry,
that is part of the motivation.
There was an agenda item, a joint meeting, to buy two new signs. He offered to fix them. We'll work on that. This is a new request.
So we have two signs and this is the third one?
We have,
Understand that?
we have four.
Four.
One that works and three that don't work.
And both these are solar power.
Well, the
So
portable one, five, yes. we have five.
both these are solar power, so will work on the availability of sunlight.
Which hasn't,
Vermont is always.
yeah, that's not always
Right.
dependable.
I'm in favor of this, but I also we really need to get the other sign working.
Yeah.
Really want to see that, but I don't know how you make that as part of this.
Yeah, don't we wait to see if we can get the other signs working?
They're used.
They all need to be used.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a reason that we should eliminate any, but we should have the ones that are working, the ones that are not working fixed.
So who's
Whether it's-
responsible for getting the other signs working?
So originally it was a request to purchase new ones. The town was gonna, select board was gonna discuss whether to buy new ones or not. In that meeting, a resident offered to look at that and try to fix them. That's an ongoing conversation. We're trying to work with the residents, see if they can fix them. That's separate from this request, which is a brand new sign. So we took the request of, I think it was the village trustees actually to work with this resident. So we're working on that end. If that can't be fixed, we'll come back to you with a request for purchase new ones. But this is a separate request.
But looking at Route 106, you have the one by the elementary school going south.
Yep.
The one by the country club that doesn't work going north.
Yep.
And which direction would this one go?
It's gonna be across from the parking area
Yes.
where they park for biking.
Okay,
Wamba.
so it'll
parks there.
be for south traffic?
I can't remember. I think it's going to Southwood.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's something.
Yeah, unfortunately, Byron, we have to make you come out. Because people on Zoom won't know who's talking.
Again, I wish Chris was here to answer this. Briefly. Dumb cop, small town, learned a long time ago. Three things you should look at: engineering, education, and enforcement. If there's a speed issue anywhere, 106 is what we're talking about now. You need to engineer. Is there a certain time of day? Is there anything else? So what the manager talked about, whatever system you want it to be able to collect the data. One of the ones that's broken, the portable one, is what I would recommend to check. It has the data port in it that you can download. It'll give you the time of day, the speed of every car that goes through. But the advantage to that versus a stationary sign like you have on both ends or coming into Woodstock is it can be moved for engineering other issues. If someone complains about West Woodstock, if someone complains about Tassville, it can be moved for a small area, do an engineering to see what the problem is if there's a certain time of day, educate people to it. And last, you enforce. You send the officers there for when it's worthwhile to be there.
Based on what the data tells us.
Having a stationary sign is supposed to deter people from speeding. I can tell you in all of my years in law enforcement, a sign out on 106, if there's no enforcement, there are some people that will challenge to see how high they can get that speed to stay. I would really recommend you think engineering, education, enforcement, and you want a portable sign so you can move it around the community where it's needed.
We have one that doesn't work.
That's what Jim Otranto on the 22nd of June said to joint boards he was willing to look at for free and repair it or tell you if it could or couldn't be repaired. I actually called him or emailed him today and he has not been contacted and he left his card behind. So
It's my understanding he has been contacted, that we had a conversation with him, but I'll confirm that.
Allison Taylor has a question on Zoom.
As we for Allison, it is heading south. I just confirmed that that's where they were asking it to heading south, yes.
Okay, thank you. Allison?
Yes, I was wondering what the policy or procedure was for requesting a speed sign. A year ago, I also contacted the town requesting a speed sign. I had conversations with Molly Maxim. Manager Duffy is aware of the conversation. I had correspondence with Interim Chief O'Keefe and also some correspondence with then Select Board Laura Powell. My understanding is that being on Route 4 and as well as 106, those are both state highways. I had conversations with VTrans and the requirements that you have to go through in order for a partnership with the town. To obtain a speed sign, you have to do a speed study. I was just dropped, ghosted. Nobody ever continued to engage in a conversation with me. I have not had a fatality at my property, but I've had 3 identical accidents on my property and the last one cost me $175,000 in property damage. All 3 accidents involved vehicles that exited the roadway in the exact same location and took the exact same trajectory across my property. It's an ongoing issue. I tried to get the town to help me. I need a partnership between the town and the state in order to get a speed sign, but I'm a little bit dismayed that somebody else has requested it and you just seem to be putting it before a vote and handing it to them. There's a waiting list here. I also have a very strong concern here, and I've also been promised on a number of occasions from Interim Chief O'Keefe that they would run radar here, and for whatever reason, seems as though they're not interested in my particular location. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's worth having a discussion when Chris O'Keefe can be here, maybe at the next meeting, which is a morning meeting. Over the wisdom of having a fixed sign versus a portable sign that could be used at other locations.
And the other thing, these signs that are out to be repaired, let's put a date on it, whether they're either going to be repaired or they have to be replaced. It seems like we've been kicking this one down the road and we're waiting for somebody to get back to us.
So where are we then on, do we wait
for Chief O'Keefe, I think.
Yeah, to tell us sort of where and when, and I mean, because apparently there was another request that hasn't been.
Might not be a bad idea to find out if there's been other than Allison's requests.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
Make that decision.
And was there a speed study? I know that that's usually, that Allison's correct, that is usually something that's done.
Usually do a speed study if you're changing the speed limit. I'm not sure. Usually the speed sign can be part of the speed study. If that's the case. Well, I'll say I don't have all the recollection from Allison Taylor's comments, so I don't want to speak too much about that. What I will say is I believe at the time the village didn't have any money to buy any speed signs, and so that's where kind of part of the reason why I decided this is a select board for the first time that I've been here, potentially buying equipment for the police department. So that's why it's a little different. And so in front of you, not the trustees. That's not excusing whatever happened else, and if we could do better, we can. But in tradition, we've only brought this to the trustees. Or
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, I see, yeah, that's all. A question?
Yeah, Roger Logan, Woodstock. This seems to be my day for nitpicking, sorry.
Go for it.
I think this is a much bigger discussion, and to some extent, it may be more of a trustee discussion than it is a select board discussion. But is there any data that these speed signs have any effect whatsoever on speeding? I'm not saying that they don't, but is there any data? And when you're using a flashing speed sign to do a quasi speed study, that is not the best way to, when something is telling you you're speeding, there are some people who are going to slow down. So if you want to do a speed study, if you want to address speeding or traffic infractions in general, I would suggest stepping back and not just buying a piece of equipment. And they seem to have about a 1.5-year lifespan anyway. I mean, I've never seen one stay up and running for any significant amount of time. So I would suggest not just going out and buying a new speed sign or spending thousands of dollars to repair existing ones. I would look at, is there a problem with speeding? From my perspective, there certainly is. But do I have the data to support that? No. Get data. I mean, do a speed study. And again, this may be more of a select board, a village trustee thing than it is a select board thing. But I would suggest not going out and buying more equipment that we know is problematic anyway in terms of its robustness. And we don't know if it works, if it has any effect on speeding whatsoever, or at least we don't have the data. I mean, maybe there's national data on this, but speed signs are not a replacement for a systematic approach. That's, again, I'm sorry to nitpick someone today, but
I think in the Freitas family, it works.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
Nicholas.
Yes. Nicholas Selden.
Hi. Yeah, Nicholas Selden. So I just, unfortunately, for once in my life, I actually agree with Roger Logan on something. It shocks me. This is probably more of a village issue than a town issue, but the fact is those carts are $30,000 a piece, and the fact that it's down and doesn't work, and we have Jim Otranto, former Woodstock police officer, willing to fix it and able to fix it for free, and no one has jumped on this, is blowing my mind. The thing is that Miss Taylor was told that she should go to VTrans because Woodstock PD did not disclose to her that its cart was broken and has been broken, and no one has repaired it. But I think that what Mr. Logan might not have heard is that the purpose of these speed signs are to document the speed and the time of day that it's occurring, so that one can then enforce it in a time efficient manner. So they do have a use. Thank you.
Thank you. So since this is labeled for a vote, do we have them? Oh, I'm sorry.
Brian.
Yep.
Fire Kelly Woodstock, just a small thing. Agree with Roger. There used to be, and I assume it still might, Two Rivers has an engineer that actually can set up exactly what Roger's saying, I believe. A speed survey without notifying people. Used to. I don't know if they still do.
Any other comments? Sorry. Okay. Do we have, are we?
Do you want
Oh.
to table it?
Yeah, all in
Yeah.
favor of
Yeah.
tabling it?
Yep.
Okay, I just didn't want to make it my own thing.
thank you again.
Discussion, let's do the College Hill Garden.
Yeah, so I think,
I know we have two people here, but go ahead.
yes, so I think the conversation has revolved around the town assisting in purchasing soil and then delivering the soil to the area so the residents can continue doing the garden they've done over a number of years. This area is in the right of way. I have the jurisdiction or the authority to, authorize the purchase and delivery because it's a town department. As I expressed to the chair and vice chair, I do have concerns with liability of the location and what could happen. And so all I want to do, because I know the board wants this to happen, is to express publicly that I have concerns with liability about purchasing this soil. And just the select board acknowledges that liability, and then I'm happy to go forward and assist the resident on this.
So just for everybody's explanation back, with the properties in the village, it's privately owned, but it is the town right of way. And correct me if I'm wrong, with ARPA money was used by the village, but the town did the work of fixing a retaining wall.
I think the town hired a contractor to do the work originally, but it was initiated by the Public Works Department and the director at the time.
So.
And then, when there was a first issue with it that was brought to our attention, I believe our crew went out and did the work themselves to repair that first issue.
This is College Hill.
College
So
Hill,
everybody
yes.
knows the side of the Route 4 side of College Hill, the actual first part of the road.
So at least what I'm proposing is that the town have the Public Work Department bring topsoil to this property to fix the damage that was done when the ARPA project or the retaining wall project happened, understanding that this is our fix, it's not going to happen again, and that you're responsible for your own work being done in the right of way. Is that fair? And Eric has said we don't really actually need to vote because he could.
I can direct the staff to do it.
We can
Yeah,
direct
yeah.
you to do that.
So this is simply replacing what was damaged.
Yes.
So why would there be any liability?
I think it's steep, and the concern is people working in that area, but it's their own, in my view, it's their own property. So despite the fact that the town has a right of way, it's still private property.
Well, Route 4 is right there, so you
Yep.
got, it's kind of, if they're working right there, to be careful. That's all. I think that's more of the liability. Sally seems to have that down.
So is that our request?
Yeah.
Great. And can we get that done?
As soon as we can, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And
Yes.
Yes.
We have a timeline, right?
Let me just discuss it with the Public Works Director to make sure when they have time. I don't want to give you a false promise, so let me talk to him tomorrow morning, and I'll send you an email before lunch tomorrow. Yeah.
I'm Mrs. Burris, I'm the property owner, so thank you so much for doing this. And this is Sally Garman. She's done a wonderful job for 22 years beautifying that area. She's Lady Brute Johnson, and it's gorgeous, and she's just a superstar. So it'd be lovely to have some modern beauty back in that spot. Thanks so much.
It needs to be done soon, not in another month or what have you, because I've dug up daylilies that are going to die, and they need to be put in the soil.
I think we'll get it done.
Yeah.
All right, please expedite it.
Yeah.
We look forward to receiving your email tomorrow, Eric.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to move on to discussion, the potential revenue from the Vondel Cobb Conservation Easement. And this is something that has, that we requested be put on the agenda because of public comments in the past, wanting to know if we received the grant from Vermont Land Trust and Vermont Housing Conservation Board, as well as the private donations. People wanted to know what are the potential uses. We're not making any decisions. We're just discussing it. I know it seems that I'm willing to be stand corrected, but I think we're well on our way that the 400,000 is. Come on up. I'll let you speak for yourself. Sorry.
Hey everybody, I am Mark Harris in Woodstock. I'm one of the two volunteers who has been kind of engaged in the philanthropic effort around the Vondel Cobb Conservation Easement. As of this afternoon, our pledged total is $402,000.
Hey.
It's been amazing. The people who have supported it have helped us network with their or kind of engage with their own personal networks, and it's been just a really amazing team effort. And everyone has just been. Conservation is a topic that I think really rings true in this town, and people see it all around us and the benefits of it. And so this was just a modern day effort to do the same thing. And so it has been a wonderful project, and I've been happy to be a part of. From a logistical perspective, the town has received, I think, 75,000 so far. It's been directly deposited to the town. Is that correct?
Not that I'm aware of, but I've known the last week and a half, so I'll confirm that.
Yes, I can confirm that.
Yep.
Robert mentioned it to me.
Okay. So there's that. The Vermont Land Trust has received a donation that will be earmarked, and we'll need to negotiate how that transfers to the town. But as you guys all know, the Woodstock Rotary has stepped in and to become a charitable partner for us, and they are sitting on about $191,000 in receipts. That leaves us about $27,000 to $30,000 that's still kind of in transit. A lot of donor advised funds take a couple of weeks, and so I don't expect the full funding will be in and received on August 1st, but we can have the Rotary's ready to write the check. They'll write 2 checks if they want the funding up. So you guys will just tell me vis-a-vis the Rotary how this all works. So that was my update.
That's great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you very
Good
much.
job.
Thank you.
So based on that, when do we close on that?
There was a document that got sent last week from Land Trust to review. I think we probably want to review it. The select board probably want to go through it as well. I'm not sure when. Is the grant in October? Is that when the final vote would be?
No, it's been voted that we have the money.
We just have to close.
We just have to accept
Okay.
the grant. I mean, we have to accept the grant.
Which is 605,000.
Right, so it'll be over $1 million if we accept the grant. And Eric's right, there is the document, the conservation easement and conveyance of the development rights. I think that's what it's called. And we have to go through that document pretty carefully because we want to make sure that, I mean, if the board votes to go through with this, we want to make sure that our future water rights to the property are very well protected. If we ever needed to use the reservoir for a water source, I think Wamba has been a great partner in this fundraising. We also want to make sure that their rights to their trails are protected, as well as all the other environmental and recreational uses of the property. So I have a draft of that. I'm happy to circulate to everybody. I confess I haven't looked at it, but Donna Foster from Vermont Land Trust has sent a draft of that document. But the reason we put it on the agenda today is there's been some questions about whether this money should be used to make payments on the bond, and just to kind of have a discussion about different options that there might be.
Yeah, so my understanding is this money's coming in basically as not being allocated to any certain topic. It's been just being sent to the town. So basically, in essence, the town has $1 million plus or minus of revenue, and then the select board gets to dictate how that money will be allocated or not allocated. Because there are no string attached, it's kind of a wide open, what you want to do with $1 million type thing. So in essence, like the board can decide to do whatever you want with the understanding that another board could come back in the future and change their mind on how the money wants to be allocated. So one of the things I looked at, and let me just share my screen quickly, is to try to look at what the overall bond payment is each year, and then break it down as the original board kind of requested, with it being about 50% for the users, 23% for all parcels, and 27% out of the local option tax. And then that breaks down to, the bond payment this year, about $293 for users, $134 for municipal, $158 for LOT, and then obviously it goes down each year as the interest goes down. So a very simple look is if you were to take the $1 million divided by 30 years and allocate money, each year to it. Again, very simplistic. It'll be about $33,000 that could be allocated to the bond payment as the board sees fit. So it could be allocated as a revenue source to offset what the total cost would be. And then it would be dependent on if you wanted to allocate it for all users, for all parcels, for just users, for the local option tax. Trying to do a quick data today of that 33,000 a year. This is an estimate I did quickly, about $4 per $100,000 appraisal on value. So if your appraised value was $500,000, you'd be saving $20 in taxes that year. So that's kind of where that is. Obviously, the select board could decide to allocate it differently as interest goes down each year. More upfront than less as you get further down. You could also allocate it for capital projects that only revolve around the Vondel property, or capital projects that only revolve around the water system. You could, not saying you should, allocate it for a new fire engine. So there are options that you have. With the bond already being approved, the interest is going to be charged to town regardless of what happens.
So if we were to pay it off, we still.
You can't pay it off early, but you could pay some of this money, each year to pay it down.
Principal.
Yeah. And what I recommend is, if that's the decision of the board, is you obviously want to pick a number that's kind of similar each year, because you don't want to have a high jump one year when it goes away. Like, you don't want to pay $500,000 next year, $500 next year to make no payments, so then people's taxes will obviously rise very quickly.
But you're saying that's not going to make a significant difference in the tax?
No, I did this, in 20 minutes earlier today. So I'd review this. But, basically at the last budget, about $80,000 was a 1% tax increase. So 33,000 saving is going to be less than 0.5% of a tax increase. So that's kind of what we're looking at money wise. What I was going to say is, you're already paying interest on this bond. So if you allocated it for a capital project, you could potentially pay that in cash and not pay the interest there. So those are kind of some of the options that the board can discuss, as you decide what you want to do.
And I'll be on my bandwagon that I think it's important that the money be used to something that benefits all taxpayers, because all taxpayers are paying the bond for purchasing Vondel. So I would be hesitant to have it go just to a water project. That's my 2 cents for what it's worth.
So I wasn't going to say anything because I just repeat myself, but I can't help it when Susan refers to the fact that we have to be careful about making sure that we still have rights to the water and Wamba is covered. I stand by, if we continue to own it, none of that would be an issue. By owning it, we're conserving the property. Nobody can touch it. The town owns it. And I just have to say again, I have no idea why we're willing to, hand it over to the Vermont Land Trust, which, frankly, sometimes things happen with the land trust that you don't expect. And to me, we own it. It's ours. We have control over it.
And we will still own it. I just want to make it clear, we still will own the property.
But giving away your rights.
But we will have conveyed
it's meaningless then.
Conservation easements.
Anyway, thank you for letting me get on my soapbox again.
I was on mine, so that's fine. Okay, so I guess this is to.
Is there anything else the board wants us to look at internally? This is the simplest. Do you want us to look at what capital projects could be coming down the road for the water system, or we could review the
townwide,
with the 5-year capital plan we did this year, and then look at projects there as well. And this also could come up in the budget process as well when we do the next budget. If there's a large capital project, you could allocate money there as well if you want to. So it will be an ongoing conversation.
And I don't have a math brain, particularly after being here for over an hour and a half. If we had a capital project and we put it toward that, I'm guessing the savings to the taxpayers would be similar, or would it be greater because it's all at one time? Not borrowing money at all.
I try to do some math on this. So it depends on what the capital project was and how you were going to fund it. So obviously, a $600,000 project, you're not going to fund through taxes in 1 year. Typically, we'd either do capital reserves over a number of years or go out to bond for that project. So this would be more, I would almost suggest, picking off things that you're probably paying cash at one-time expense, like, if you need a new grader for $500,000 or you need a new police vehicle, bad example, you need a new fire engine, pickup truck or whatever. You can do a one-time purchase and save money that way, would be the way you could look at it.
I guess I'd like to have get an opinion from the finance committee, kind of an
That's not a
independent.
bad idea. It's just the finance committee.
Yeah.
Yep. Have we put out, off topic, have we put out a request for new committee members there?
We were supposed to while I was on vacation. I can confirm that went out or not. I know the one went out for the non-merger committee group. But that finance should have gone out with that, but I'll double check.
Okay, great. Any other questions from the board? How about from the public? Yes, Mark.
Through all of my, again, Mark Harris from Woodstock, through all of my fundraising efforts, the donors have all asked, their investment is in the land, is in protecting the land and the benefits of conservation. A few of the more savvy philanthropists have said, and what are we doing with the funding that we're receiving, the $600,000 grant and the $400,000 you seek to raise? And I have basically told them that is the select board's charge, but I've been assured by Susan that it will be for public benefit, right? And so that's been good enough for the donors, which is great. I have my own thoughts, and in my day job, I work over at Dartmouth College in the fundraising office, and one of the things that I have experienced is these new revenue opportunities are a great opportunity. Like, to see Eric's example of, could we save the average Woodstock taxpayer $20, a year? Does that matter? Probably no. Not in some ways, yes, but by and large, meaningfully, no. I would love to. We own this land. We have not given away the rights. We have sold the rights for $1 million. Right. That
we've lost the rights.
We sold. Well, we gained $1 million, and so regardless of that, we have this $1 million. So this land, can we think of the idea of endowing it? There will be expenses for the land, whether it's through forestry or through the whatever management fees, the land trust. I don't know any of those, and I don't care any of those details. Can we invest this as the trust for public funds or some other vehicle where this land, this 323 acres, can fund itself, right? And then the benefit is much smaller annually, but is perpetual. Just like the rights that we have sold are perpetual, the benefit stays that way. That's right in line with the Rockefeller endowment and other things. And is this an opportunity for us to do something like that? I leave it to you guys. As long as it's for public benefit, everybody who's invested in this project is going to feel great. So it's a great problem to have, right? So thank you.
Thank you. Other questions, comments? Okay. So I guess I have one. The Trust for Public Funds is not something I'm familiar with, and perhaps we should be getting some more material on that before we.
So I think the finance committee can help.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. The FY27 Village Town Police contract, which I think we're on month-to-month extensions right now because the contract was up for renewal on July 1.
Yes.
As we discussed earlier, we did get or at least I think everybody.
You did, yeah.
Everybody got the incident reports, and I tried to do kind of a summary just to kind of look at what the town, what services are provided in the town. And the one thing I didn't do, which I thought would be interesting, is to look at the times of the different incident calls, but I ran out of time for that. So I'm going to open it to discussion. We, obviously we need to figure out if we're renewing the contract, are we renewing it for the same amount, and under the same terms?
Okay, I'll lead it off. When I went through it and ran the numbers, I had sticker shock. for almost $500,000 for the police protection for the town. As I started to go through some of the budgets to look at where things are coming from, and did some interviews on laying out the organizational charts, it appears that the police department, the village police, do not pay any rent on this emergency building. I'm not sure, I don't have the right term for it, but I think we should receive some revenue on that, or at least offset the cost, the $40,000 a month for this protection. My thoughts.
I want to look into that. I looked into that a while back and I didn't finish. There might have been some agreement. And Byron may be aware, I'm not sure if you can speak to it better than him, but I haven't fully looked into it, but I think there was some agreement between the village town on that property, but I'm not sure. Byron, do you have history on that? Would you mind?
You're asking me to come up.
I'm asking you to come up, but that's okay.
Oh, this is scary.
Usually I have publications.
You didn't have to raise your hand.
This is scary.
You need to come to the principal's office.
Byron Kelly Woodstock. Yes, I do. First of all, I want to point out, because no one's pointed it out, it is great to see Sue Chiefsky here, who's running for select board. Clay Reed here, who's running for select board, and Mary Ann Sweeney, who's running for select board. It is fantastic. I love everyone here, but no one mentioned that before, so let me mention it.
You're also running for select board too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I don't campaign. I will say that the history is when Woodstock Village Police originally got to the Emergency Services Building, it was well known that was a town building. And the Village Police used to be downstairs of the Simmons house, if you remember. It got flooded every single spring. And I'm saying flooded, like 6+ inches. We went and we raised money to build the addition on initially, which was paid for completely by the village with permission from the town. Initially, what happened when it was done is the village paid the town. One of the things we did is we paid for all of the trash. It was like, nah, not dividing it up. And then we paid X amount for the heat for the building to the town. And there wasn't a rent, but we paid for the building initially. And there was something else we paid too, but it was not a lot of money. What happened though is then the rebuild a few years ago was done, and the manager probably could speak to that more, the $5 million rebuild, I think. The town bonded for the whole building to be redone. So there wasn't any agreement after that.
Okay. But, and that, as Milton Friedman would say, there's no free rent, so.
What I would ask the board to consider is for now table this discussion. For about the last year and a half, I've met multiple times with Susan, and Cliff is now your select board person to the police, I think. And I've talked about how the contract has evolved over the years and how I don't personally think it's fair as it used to be. I do have ideas, but they shouldn't come from me. They should come from Chris and the manager. At times I felt like when I tried to talk about it, I was treated almost adversarial, when it's like, I support the men and women of the police department. There is a reason why we have the agreement that we have. I would rather have you table it, and I would offer my assistance, because I have ideas that would answer all of this without dividing us, village and town again, for them to present, not for me to present. That's would be my recommendation.
And it's just up for discussion. We
Yeah.
aren't planning on voting on anything.
Yeah, so my
tonight.
concern with the sticker shock, for the 40 hours of service, it's several $100s an hour. And then in the contract, there's no mention of liability. So those are my concerns. And I've only been here 8 years and a couple of weeks on a board. I don't have the history.
If instead of being this is maybe just me, I really do feel like it's been adversarial, like I'm against this. I'm for the people in our community. The village is part of the town, and the town is the town. The town is the only one that pays for the $476,000. Village doesn't pay any of that. The net cost to both the town, $476, and the village is about less than 476. Doesn't add up. I have some thoughts that I would like to share that are not divisive, that I think are inclusive, and I would recommend that.
I think we're open to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was one of my questions too, is what the village pays net, because they get a lot more parking money, and I've always kind of suspected that we might be paying more.
A premium.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but they do receive, I want to say a couple $100,000 in revenue from parking.
Right.
Or at least probably 200,000. It will be a conservative guess. So that does offset some of the cost of it. But I mean, I guess the way the budget works is. Oh, yes, thank you. That parking revenue they receive is revenue. It's not revenue just for, you know, the police. It's kind of overall revenue for the budget. So, but yeah, that's correct.
But then we're still subsidizing more than I think than we should be, you know, if they are able to take that revenue. Anyway, I think it's time I think have a hard talk about the amount that we're paying.
Agreed.
And I think Byron's right. We need to really discuss it. Get our hands.
And someone with a lot more knowledge in this than I have, so appreciate it.
Yeah, well, if it's going to be completely open for discussion, then on the money thing, I would just reiterate that. In addition to that, I feel that we should get a report, a monthly report, a police report, and I think the police chief should be here to do that report. This quarterly thing with the select board member, I think all of us should hear what's going on, and I think the community should hear what's going on. And I just think just a monthly visit and a report, I think is, especially with how much we are, quote, subsidizing the whole department. So that would be my input.
And the quarterly meetings that we've been having they predate the acting chief, was kind of out of frustration that of feeling that the town wasn't getting what they were paying for. And it was trying to get the data and the information to know that. And I think this is the most I've ever seen of data. So yeah, it's been an ongoing discussion, and that's why we were doing the quarterly meetings, was to try to keep that discussion going. But yeah. Any other questions or comments from the board? From the public? Okay. The later you go, there's fewer questions there are.
Yeah.
Next, we have we wanted to discuss a rooster ordinance.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give you a bunch of papers.
Okay.
Do you want to take one and pass them down like we're
Oh,
in high school? So what I have,
just not me, bro. We'll miss you.
Chickening out, he said.
so you have a few things in front of you. One is, I think it's Halston, Massachusetts, their kind of rooster ordinance. You should have South Burlington, which is backyard chicken ordinance. And then you also have the town kind of dog wolf hybrid ordinance as well. What we found out talking to an attorney is what they recommend is kind of the backyard chicken ordinance. If you don't have one, kind of work on that. And then you have options on how you want to kind of set that up. That's why you have South Burlington in front of you. We also have a chart that kind of breaks down 8 different municipalities in Vermont and what they look like. So South Burlington, you have 6 hens per lot. You need a permit. I'll pass this on in a second. Yeah. No roosters. Essex Junction, 4 hens per lot. Annual permit. No roosters. Brattleboro, 8 hens. Permit, yes. Coops must be 50 feet away from neighboring residences. Hartford, 12 hens. Hens for personal use only. Colchester, 6 hens, no roosters, et cetera, et cetera. To pass it down as well. So there's a lot of information there. I guess, we could probably take South Burlington and kind of work off that. Would be a good start. But summary, it is how the board wants to set up this ordinance. What numbers you want in it, what the enforcement will be, the fines will be. whether it will be grandfathered in or not. So some of those are kind of the harder questions to kind of work into a draft ordinance. But that's what we have for you all to review and discuss now if you want.
Do we know if the rooster's still alive?
Kind of all directed about one rooster.
I do not know. I have no updates on the health of the rooster in question.
Through a lot for one rooster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think we need to.
Yeah, so the question is, I mean, are we going to do an ordinance? I mean.
Right.
And I looked this up and it was, the Vermont doesn't have, I was just thinking, can it just be under like noise? Because Michael was measuring the decibel level and it's high. So I mean, that would pass in terms of a noise situation. But the way I sort of half-assed researched it, the village has a noise ordinance, but the town doesn't.
Right.
And then I was hoping, well, the state might have sort of a general, and they don't. It's relegated right back to the town. So I don't know. I was just thinking maybe in terms of that, sort of in general, a noise ordinance, which I don't know. That was just a thought.
Yeah, I have a half answer on that. I was not the one who did this research, but the person who did, when they talked to the attorney, they said to avoid noise ordinance. I don't know the background or why, but I can get that for you for the next meeting.
South Burlington charges per chicken. You have to get it. Look at this. It's a brand new revenue source.
There you go.
It's a $20 and then.
Violation's $25 fine.
Yeah. And yeah, so. I mean, obviously just getting these now, we can't.
Where do we go from here?
I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's the question.
I'm not really thinking we need a 7-page rooster ordinance, which is what South Burlington is. I'd love to.
And so from what I understand, I always thought their property was in the village.
No.
But those properties are just over the town.
Yeah.
I mean, the village line. And so, and Michael mentioned that it's a high density.
One of his ideas, which I have here, roosters should not be kept within 1,000 feet of a neighboring residence or business. Was the original one he said, but then I think he changed it to the 2 high density places in the town that he thought would be appropriate.
Yeah, and he actually described
what
they were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we need to be regulating roosters on Long Hill Road. Not that I have any.
I think that chart that someone said it has to be X feet away from other residencies. So, if you had that language, if you're on Long Hill and you're 1,000 yards away from someone, then it wouldn't apply to you. But if you're 100 feet away, then it would.
So could we try to get a draft of something for the next meeting that, I think what we're saying is we want it for high density areas. Right?
Yep. High density, there does have to be some kind of penalty so that if they have one, they've got to be penalized somehow.
Capital punishment on roosters.
Yeah, what is the police power on that?
Well, that's the thing too. We want to make sure that, is it animal control that's going in? Is it the constable? Is it the state? Is it our officers? I don't know if our officers of the union would want them to be in charge of killing a rooster or something. So that this probably some of these conversations we'd want to have to flush out as well. Especially when it comes to enforcement. It's so much of speeding. You can do all the speed limits you want, but it's enforcement that's going to be the difference. So,
And South Burlington seems to be much more concerned with odors and everything associated with chickens. I think they must have had a big chicken operation they were trying to.
And the noise ordinance would not cover that.
No, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, because they all limit the number of things.
Except they all seem to have no roosters. So.
Right.
Yeah. So high density,
simple
enforcement,
some type of enforcement, maybe a
we're only
daily,
talking about noise
a daily
at this
fee.
point. Right.
Rooster, just roosters.
Yeah, I don't want to start, counting eggs.
Before that has never mind. It's a slippery slope.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Our last item for discussion is the unpaved road speed limit. And this has arisen, we have some people on different dirt roads who have been requesting that their speed limits be lowered. Most of the dirt roads, I think in Woodstock, are at 35, which living on a very narrow dirt road is pretty high. So back when this first came up a couple years ago, my concern was, are we now going to get inundated with dirt road applications? And shouldn't we look at whether we have a standard speed limit lower the speed limit on all the dirt roads? And coming back to what I think Byron said earlier, we could make the speed limit 5, but if we don't have enforcement, it's not going to mean much. So you disagree?
Yes, I'd like to point out something before maybe we'll say the
Well,
discussion.
let's just,
Okay.
I'm going to stick to our format of having the board discuss it
Yeah.
first, and then we'll go to the public, just because that's our stated format, and I don't want to vary. So,
Living on a dirt road, I would certainly favor a 25-mile-an-hour limit on dirt roads for two things. One, it's just a potential hazard. The roads themselves are in different seasons, very dangerous to be excessively speeding on. And thirdly, when it's dry, the dust kicked up is really annoying.
any other board?
Yeah, I'm surprised it's at 35, so.
Most of them don't have signs,
Yeah.
so you actually don't know.
Yeah, I had some calls from some people, specifically Peterkin Hill. And so I went up there myself and
Tested it?
I tested it. And
How fast did you go?
I went 35 and I was scared to death. And I mean, that's a particularly really dangerous road. It's narrow and you've got the steep coming down. I'm surprised that it's a 35 mile an hour. But anyway, that was my own personal.
Yes.
And
So
I was in a 4-wheel drive SUV, big car, still.
So if I could give some context, I think I gave the board some wrong information earlier, and so I want to correct it on this. For unpaved municipal highway or road, the board can set anything between 50 and 35 as long as it considers the neighborhood character of the land. Any speed limit between 25 and 35 on unpaved roads needs to have an engineering and traffic investigation. So to change something like that, you'd have to do an investigation or an engineering study on that road. So we can't just blanket cover, we have to go road by road and say that. The traffic investigation can be as simple as having a police officer out there with a gun for, I forget if it's 100 stops or 10 hours or whatever it is. But you need to do the study to make sure it falls within that scope. Between 35 and 50, you have the jurisdiction, but when it gets to 25 and 35, state statutes kind of steps in. So that's the issue we've had in the past.
And I don't think there's any that are over 35 unpaved roads, are there?
I don't want to say,
Okay.
but I believe looking at the ordinance last time, I don't think there were unpaved roads. But if there were, you could change it to 35. But to go below that is where the issue comes in.
And didn't we do a speed study on Peterkin?
They did the whole.
2021, 2022.
That was when I
And
first came on board.
yeah, it came in as the average speed did not rise to the level.
It was like 37.
Per the study that need to be changed. The residents would counter that. People knew there was a study being done, so they slowed down. Which I think Byron said earlier, someone else did, or or Roger, maybe when you see the flashing light, you slow down. So I mean, that's kind of where we're at.
Darn.
Yeah.
I was hoping we could just wave a magic wand to make everybody 25.
Is there a way we can appeal to the state to have that floor lowered from 35 to 25? So that we have then discretion.
I believe that I have to go in front of the legislator, so I think we can talk to our delegation.
Charlie?
See if they can advocate for that.
Well, the only thing is this one group,
Right.
Peterkin Hill group, they got the neighbors, they all wrote in and they did traffic study.
Okay.
And their argument is not that if it's close to 35 miles an hour, that's okay. It's that 35 miles an hour is too fast. And that's
No, I get that.
that's their whole argument. So
But the study didn't.
so it showed that it was I think average of 37 miles an hour. So
Right.
it didn't go over the
Right.
threshold of where
How
they
weird.
would constitute
Yeah.
getting a ticket.
I mean, if the board wants, we can look into doing another traffic study there. I don't think Two Rivers will cover. I think Two Rivers might have covered the last one. I think there's a limit on when you can, but we could see if the police officer could be there or another option as well.
If it was done in 21, is it outdated?
Let's ask Two Rivers.
Yeah.
And
If they've already done that?
see if,
And
given timing, if they'll do another.
I think it's worth talking to Representative Kimball.
Yeah.
To just lower the floor on that for discretionary speeds.
I agree. Even 30 is an improvement over 30, 35. I mean, so. Okay. Any other comments or questions from the board? Public? Yes, Byron, our frequent talker tonight.
Oh, no. I wish Chris was here. There's like 4 items for police, so he should be put on the hot seat. The manager is correct, when he did the addition. It's under section 1007 of Title 23.
Okay.
That allows you to go no lower than 35. There is that caveat that, well, maybe if you do an engineering study, what I would tell you is municipal wise, it's the state that gives you authority. It's dreaming if you think Charlie or anyone can change the state law because they just won't do it. Is my opinion.
Okay.
Another thing is violations in 1008 is another thing that you have statutory. But the issue that Norm's talking about, yes, you don't have, if you're driving too fast for the road character or condition, there's another violation. But again, you come to engineering, education, and enforcement. And it's a violation of Title 23, Section 1081, which is exactly what Norm just spoke to. Excess of speed for the road character or condition. You don't have to have a speed limit for that. What you need is a police officer, usually, to be able to go in and testify in court that that speed was in excess of the road character or condition for safety. You do that by a lot of different ways. How many accidents have you had that speed was considered a contributing factor to be able to do that? On hills like Peterkin Hill, I will tell you, 25 is too fast if you have the frost heaps going down there.
Sure.
You can go 15 and lose your car on the
Or a
frost
little bit of
heaps
ice.
that happen. So 1081, you don't need to create a new ordinance. You just need to enforce once you engineer through, well, Roger's gone now, through determining what the speed is on that. But I will tell you, what Norm said is exactly true. It could be 10 miles an hour, it could be too fast for existing character and conditions under 1081. You just have to be able to testify to that.
So we're going to look into Peterkin and then I guess we'll have to go road by road. If we want to make changes. On the minute, the May 28th, 2026, am I correct that they were approved and we are amending them because a citizen's comment was changed to reflect what the citizen said?
Yes, a citizen had,
So
thought
that
they were
one's
misquoted.
separate. Is there a motion to amend the May 28th, 2026 minutes?
I have a question. If
Yes.
we weren't on the select board, then can we do that on a meeting that we were not
Yeah.
on the board?
I guess we have to table that till we have Cliff.
Yeah, unless you
Good
can,
catch.
unless you're willing to say that you were at the meeting or you watched the meeting and you have, this is a fair representation of what the
Probably
minutes
were
were.
at the meeting. Is your
Oh
name
my
on
God.
there?
Oh my God, it's liability. I don't know.
I had some corrections on the other 2 minutes and at least one was substantive, so. I don't know if you want me to tell you what my changes were and we can approve them with those changes. I have to find it.
You can also do something, we're meeting in 7
And
days.
we're meeting in a week. And Kitty can reprint them and I.
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be good.
Okay, so we're gonna table all the minutes?
All of them. Yep.
Oh my God. Okay, because I was all ready to go too with major ones. Okay.
Do you have some changes too?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so if you send them to Kitty.
Yeah, or if she
Or-
wants to send them out,
or
whatever,
send-
whatever
or- yeah.
is easiest
They
for
may
you.
be some of the same ones I had. I'll check now
So which
found.
date? The only one for June 16th was we needed the Zoom number attendance. So that's all I had on June 16th, but I have more on July 7th.
That was your job.
Not Zoom.
Oh,
Not
that's right.
Zoom.
No,
That's right.
she doesn't have the computer up.
I did it tonight, though.
Oh, did you? Okay, so July 7th.
Yes. Now that I've said it. Yeah, under citizens' comments, what was left out was both something that I had said and Peter had said, and it's a relation to the fact of perhaps looking at more other layers of financial oversight. So, and for Kitty's, I actually got it on the recording so that she can just go to it so that I don't have to give language here.
Okay.
So it would be for my comments would be at 39 minutes. No, 39 minutes, 5 seconds. And Peter's comments on the same issue was at 49 minutes, 12 seconds.
Okay.
So that's it for that.
Okay. You want me to tell you mine or just wait for Kitty to remember?
Well,
Yeah, well,
Okay.
go ahead.
I'm going to skip the kind of things that had some words. There was, the statement on ongoing litigation that Cliff read. This is on the June 16th. It was just missing the statement about who directs that our insurance company is the one who's directing how the lawsuit proceeds. That language was missing. Kind of a silly thing, but on the energy coordinator, we noted that you voted no by name, but in other areas where there were no votes, we didn't indicate who voted.
I noticed that.
So I thought it should just be consistent. Either we say who votes no,
right,
or we leave it silent.
Yeah.
On July 7th, I just wanted it noted that Mary Beth DeFalco was also attended, since we made a point of saying that select board candidates were there. And then finally, after we came back from executive session and voted on legal representation for a zoning matter or planning matter, but we should state who the law firm was that we.
Yeah.
It just says we agreed on legal representation, but we actually agreed on a specific law firm. Those were my changes. Great. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I so moved.
Seconded by Gay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.